Let's talk about the biggest mistake I see being made during cocktail hours. My name is Dani Rosa. I've helped over 400 Colorado schools and nonprofits raise over $50 million. And I have seen that there's this one big missed opportunity that we have in the cocktail hour over and over. Years ago, I used to work at this coffee shop all the time. Pretty quickly, I became good friends with all the regulars. We would sit next to each other and work all day. We would stay late at the coffee shop for when it transitioned into a wine bar and stay for their trivia night. We would do business together. We'd go on dates together. We actually would rent these big mountain houses together where everybody chipped in, and we'd go skiing and snowboarding together on the weekends. We loved running into each other every day. We were becoming really good friends. Now, what I came to find out was the owners of that coffee shop had a very intentional strategy. What they would do is they would connect and introduce us to each other. So what that looked like is, I'd be standing in line to order my coffee, and the barista would say, "Oh, Dani, look behind you, meet Joe." And I'd turn around, I'd see Joe, and they'd say, "Did you know that Joe is a nonprofit leader and he's been working in nonprofits his entire career? Joe, Dani actually helps nonprofits fundraise at, their annual galas. You two should chat." And I'd turn around, I'd say, "Joe, that's so cool. So nice to meet you. What organization are you with?" And before you knew it, Joe and I were having a conversation. We were casually leaning against the bar, waiting for our coffees together, just talking and going back and forth. And then we traded business cards. And then 2 weeks later, Joe and I had a sit down meeting at that coffee shop where he was picking my brain. I was giving him some free strategy tips, and maybe a couple months later, his board finally decided to hire me for his gala or something like that. But the idea was that these baristas and these owners would do what they did with Joe and I with every single person they could in the coffee shop. Now, what ended up happening was all of us connected and found things in common and broke the ice and essentially became acquaintances and then turned into friends. And that coffee shop, that community ended up taking on a life of itself, and that coffee shop ended up being a meeting ground for all of us. Now, years later, when that coffee shop ended up closing, it actually ended up displacing a community of about 100 of us that were really missing each other and didn't really know where to meet up anymore. So that coffee shop and your cocktail hour are very similar. Your cocktail hour is best served to become a meeting ground like that coffee shop was. So in your cocktail hour, if your board members and your leadership could be acting like the owners of the coffee shop in your cocktail hour, that is what is going to help create your gala and your cocktail hour as a meeting ground for all of these folks and individuals. So what that would look like is, instead of having your senior leadership or your board members, running the check-in and check-out and checking people in, or managing vendors, or even selling things during the cocktail hour for games that you're playing later on during the night, instead of them doing that, if they were each responsible for connecting 5 to 10 different people, that is what is going to create this meeting ground here. Because just because people come to your event and it's a cocktail hour and it's an environment that looks like people are going to socialize, it doesn't mean they actually will. Even your most outgoing people sometimes are going to show up to your gala and they're going to be tired from a day of work. Maybe they have a job where they talk, and the last thing on their mind is to be gregarious and outgoing and introduce themselves to people. They get there, they just want to get a drink, they want to get their appetizer, they want to peruse the silent auction, and then they're ready and excited for dinner. You can't expect and anticipate the community to build itself. So if you're, board members and your leadership, if that could be their job during the cocktail hour, before you know it, your gala is going to be a place where all of these people that you have introduced and you've helped them find things in common, that's the main thing they're going to have in common, is that your cause is one they support, your gala is one that they go to every year, and now they're looking forward to seeing each other when they get to your cocktail hour. During the actual program, later on in the night, when we are sharing stories, we're raising paddles, all that good stuff, the celebrities or the people that your donors are really excited to hear from would be the people, families, or animals that we serve and the staff members who directly serve them. All right, so that's who your donors want to hear from during the program. However, during the cocktail hour, the celebrities become the leadership and the board members. That is who we are excited to meet, rub elbows with in the cocktail hour, get to know, potentially network with, potentially, set up coffee meetings with, so on and so forth there. So this cocktail hour is a very specific, special time where your leadership and your board members could make the biggest potential impact. Now, one objection that I've heard to this is pretty obvious. Hey, we are short-staffed. We don't have very many people to work our event. We need our board members and our leadership to help us out during the cocktail hour. That is completely understandable, especially if it is your first gala or you are just kind of starting to level up your gala. But I urge you to try as best as you can to hire check-in teams, check-in and check-out teams, and to get as many volunteers to fill these positions as possible, because the opportunity for your leadership and your board to create this community, that's really the only opportunity they have for the entire year to make that happen. To recap, the best use of your cocktail hour is for the leadership and the board members to be introducing people to each other. It is your only opportunity to do something like this. Now, if you found this video helpful, subscribe to our newsletter and you'll get more videos like this. Also, we would love to hear from you in the comments. Do you have any other really intentional and strategic ways that you are using the cocktail hour to support your cause and your mission year round? Other nonprofit leaders would love to hear your ideas. We always want to share and swap ideas, so please put anything in the comments if you have any good ideas. And as always, we hope this is your most profitable gala yet.